Hello everybody, welcome back to True Scary Story Reddit Reading. Today, I am here to read The Horrors of Reddit. Oh my god. Per usual, I have not read these. That's like my thing, you know? I just jump right in. I know as much as you do. I'll be shaking in my boots with you. Most of our stories today is on the subject of trusting your gut. Y'all mother truckers need to learn to trust your gut. Your instincts. Tingling. Of course, per usual, you guys, I have to let you know, viewer discretion is strongly advised. Because these are scary. These are true scary stories. Spooky dooky. Chills on your spine. Make you pee your pants. You know what I mean? Without further ado, let's freaking go. But wait. Y'all already know. You gotta freaking subscribe. Let's go. Don't forget to subscribe. My husband and I think we dodged a serial killer. 2 years ago in the winter, my husband and I bought and moved to a farm in small town Appalachia. We decided to go down to our local Tractor Supply to buy a propane tank. As we were in the checkout line, a man, in his late 50s I assume, walked in and stared at us. He grabbed a random woman's shirt off a shelf, turned back, stared at us some more, and stood behind us in line. He stood so close I could feel his breath on my neck. I was extremely uncomfortable, but I figured it's a small town, so everyone is just overly nice. So I turned towards him, smiled, nodded, and said, "Good morning," hoping the man would feel as uncomfortable as I did and back up a bit. He did not. He started talking to us, initially starting with pleasant small talk. The weather is getting quite cold. This line is taking forever, telling us about him picking up his great aunt from the airport in 2 hours, etc. Then quickly going into more intrusive territory. Where are you guys from? Where are you living now? How old are you guys? For context though, I was in my late 20s and my husband only a few years behind me. Our baby faces could have easily passed for 2021. When it was our turn to check out, I said, "Have a good day," to the man and went to the register. As the guy behind the register started to explain their propane pricing, the man started to flip out. I mean, he started yelling at the poor 17-year-old kid working his weekend job, saying, "I can't believe y'all are charging them so much for a propane tank, and they're a young newlywed couple. Why can't you give them a break?" He just kept going on and on, cussing beneath his breath at the guy behind the counter. Then he once again turned to us. "Hey, I have a 100-pound tank I'm not using at my house. I'll let y'all have it for free if you want. You'll just need to come with me." My husband thanked him but declined. He said, "Are you sure? My house is only 20 minutes from here. I could give you 2 tanks. Again, my husband declined. He continued, "We have to do it now though, because I have to go to the airport and leave town in 2 hours. This was a slip up we hadn't noticed until we got home later that day. At this point, I said, "No thank you," in a bit more assertive tone. Getting what I assumed was annoyed, he dropped his items and stormed out. As we went outside to get our tank filled up, the man pulled up into a parking spot next to the fill-up area in his pickup truck. He got out and went back at it. "You should really think about getting a second tank. It'll save you a trip and would last you longer." He continued, "If you don't want to both go, only one of y'all can just come and ride with me, and the other can meet at my place." I replied, "No thank you, we're good." Then he said, "Come on. It's a small town. It's safe. I would never hurt such a lovely young couple." At this point, the outdoor employee came out of the propane area and told him to get the fuck out of there and to stop bothering us. So we got in his truck that did not have a license plate and drove off. The other day, while filling our tank up, the guy helping us asked us about that day, if we ever saw that guy again. Apparently, he comes by in the winters when it's quiet and only talks to young couples. Major creepy vibes. I'ma be completely honest. The only time you say, "I would never hurt a lovely young couple," he 100% would have hurt a lovely young couple. It was all good until that point, because let's be honest, in small towns, people are very, very intrusive. They're very nosy, and they all know everything about each other. So really, it wasn't any alarm bells until he basically said what he was gonna do. Hurt the lovely young couple. The fact that it is a small town, people are probably very trusting, and he probably gets people to come up there all the time. Whether he did plan something malicious for you guys, who knows? Maybe he's like, and this is just me playing devil's advocate here, maybe he's one of those people that he's hitting on you. You know, in today's day and age, everybody seems to want to be non-monogamous and swingers and, you know, tango with some strange. Maybe he goes after the young couples because he wants to all sleep together. That's just, again, me playing devil's advocate. But I'm glad neither of you found out what his intentions were. Let's read a few comments. Commenter, I would never hurt such a lovely young couple. If you have to spell that out, you're already creepy as fuck, dude. Agreed. Commenter, serial killer might be a bit of a reach. I 100% agree. It's a little dramatic. Definitely a bit strange that the employee mentioned that dude seems to like talking to young couples. Not really sure what to think here, but would probably avoid if you see him again. OP responded, definitely possible that he was just a lonely or slightly crazy mountain man. Driving a beater, we definitely have some of those eccentric people out here. Still creeped us the hell out though. Commenter, yeah, I don't know. The lack of the license plate doesn't install confidence. Keep away, OP. Speaking of the no license plate, come on. You're in a small town. That's not really that weird. I don't know. It's just one of those things where little things like that aren't really that weird. You're not in a big city. They're not going to ticket you most of the time for it because they don't care. They're like, oh, that's Larry. He lives up the mountain and drinks moonshine. No, he's not going to hurt a fly. We ain't worried about his license. Anyways, let's go to another one. What is the scariest thing that has ever happened in your life? I went into McDonald's to order for a carload of siblings and their friends late at night. I must have drawn the short straw, or because I was the youngest, but as I was standing in front to order, a great guy in a beige trench coat gave me a cold stare and then looked at the black teenage girl working the register. He then whipped out a .38 special pistol and looked at me again, pointed it at me, then suddenly changed his mind and put the barrel right up to her forehead. She and I were frozen. It was like time stood still, even for him, because without making a sound, and it was a miracle. And I don't care if you're not a believer in the supernatural, two big Denver cops busted through the two glass double doors with all their gear on and grabbed him and pummeled him down to the ground. And the gun fell a few inches from the three, and they pinned him so hard he was wincing in pain but unable to move a muscle. I shakenly walked out of the Mickey D's and went to the car. Everyone was asking in a complaining tone, "Where's the food?" That's all I remember. And one of the group, the driver probably must have seen the cop car lights flashing and realized to go somewhere else. To this day, the lack of concern for my well-being from family and community made me always have a tinge of distrust of other people. That is terrifying. I am always so scared anytime I go anywhere with the state of the world right now that this kind of thing is going to happen. I'm always on high alert, which you guys know if you watch my videos. I'm very, very, very paranoid. But I'll be honest, it's a good thing. Okay, it's a good thing. And to have a gun drawn on you, I cannot explain the feeling that you feel when this happens. It has happened once in my life, and I hope it never happens again. And I have told this story before, so I'm not going to say it right now. But if you are wondering, I was held at point by the cops for literally no reason. I have a very estranged love for the cops. They hate me. They really fucking hate me. They really do. I'm getting off topic. I hope that nobody, if you already have, I'm sorry, but I hope nobody has to ever have a drawn on them. Ever. Even in a playful manner, which that should never happen. That's really bad. You should never do that. Always treat a gun as if it's loaded. Anyways, let's go to the comments. Commenter, that kind of incident would traumatize anyone, let alone a 12-year-old child. I'm so sorry nobody took your well-being into consideration. Yeah, that's another thing. What the fuck's wrong with your friends and family? I would think they'd be like, oh my god, I'm so glad you oh my gosh, people fucking suck. Okay, so this has 3 downvotes, so let's read this one. I feel for you. The universe sent you a message. It was not clear what the message was, but I hope that you did not let it get you down and despondent. I work with people who suffered trauma. There are no easy answers, except I believe that you were able to navigate to a stable, safe place until you get the proper professional help. Why was that downvoted? OP responded to that. LOL, I'm fine. That was 40 years ago. I grew up in a violent, volatile environment. A lot of people around me had it much worse than I ever did. Hell, my oldest brother was robbed at gunpoint as a teenager working at a Taco John's and whipped instead of being shot or killed. The universe was telling me that the USA is a violent, crazy culture, way beyond what people think it is. I have a quick question. Are you in Jacksonville, Florida? Are you? Probably not. Let's go to another one. My unforgettable encounter. So my story to tell is actually quite a chilling one. It happened a long time ago now and comes from a brief yet highly disturbing encounter. Despite it being brief, it would eventually have a long-lasting impression on me and will likely remain the most messed up thing I have ever experienced. My story began when I was 14 years old. To give some context, I was one of those part of the group but no one of the group types, shy and reserved. I had friends but not much beyond school hours, so when one of my friends wanted me to hang out with them, it made a welcome change to my quiet after school routine of video games. We walked back to hers from school and she invited me into her house. As I walked in, I saw whom I quickly assumed was her dad, with his back to me prepping food. This was the first time I've been introduced to him, and my first impression would quickly be, putting it very mild, not great at all. As my friend introduced me, he turned around to face me holding a large kitchen knife. Suddenly, he lurched towards me as if he stumbled forward, yelling, "Whoa!" He quickly turned the knife, pushing the handle quite hard into my chest. He then smirked with the eeriest expression on his face and said, "Only joking." My heart was pounding, and inwardly I was freaking out, and while I tried to nervously laugh it off, I am sure my face clearly said otherwise. My friend just laughed it off as dad fooling around and led me to their living room. But as I sat down, I couldn't shake the uneasy gut feeling I had now. I tried to shake it off and talk to my friend, but her dad promptly entered the room. They had music playing moderately loud on a stereo, and he cranked the volume to a level that sounded like a live band was in there with us. My friend followed him to the kitchen and soon returned. She told me she had to go to the store to get something for him and asked if I wanted to wait for her, as it wasn't too far. Nope. Oh, I swear to God, if you did, OP. Given the rather creepy encounter, my gut instinct was having none of it, and I wouldn't be ignoring it. I quickly got up and left with my friend for the store. I can't say exactly how the rest of the day went, as I can't remember, but I do know I didn't return to that house again. I wouldn't speak of what happened after that for quite some time and just chalked it up to a really freaky interaction, locking it away in my mind. However, it wouldn't end there. He would set foot in our house a year later, dropping my friend off at a family party we were having. I didn't interact with him then, though my dad offered him a beer and later recalled how he just stood in a corner alone, watching everyone. I would see my friend's dad for the third time a couple years later, this time on TV, as the face of the man convicted for the abduction and murder of a woman who went missing a week prior. I stood there right as the story broke of who he was. I will never, for as long as I live, forget the sensation of my blood turning to ice in my veins. My parents later commented how they literally saw the color drain from my face in that moment. Yet in the days that followed, it only got worse. He would go on to confess while in custody to the abduction and murder of a woman who had been missing for 20 years by that point. Following corroborations of things he had said previously, along with expert analysis, led the police to believe he may have actually been a prolific serial killer. He was soon probed as a potential suspect in almost half a dozen unsolved missing persons cases. However, due to a lack of evidence and further confession, his involvement in these remain unclear. My mind still occasionally wanders to that first encounter. Even though his choice of victims seemed to be women, I can't help but think about that music cranked up so loud. How my friend asked if I wanted to wait for her at the house with him. If I had stayed, what would have happened to me, if anything at all? Was there a part of him that was curious, wondering about switching things up a little bit? Or was that knife held to my chest truly the harmless joke of a serial killer? Your intuition is always right. Always listen to your gut, because even if you're wrong, at least you're not dead. My thought, the music was so loud because maybe, just maybe, okay, and this is again me just thinking outside of the box on this. What if the daughter was in on it and she's like, I'm gonna have my friend come over, I'll go to the store, and if she stays here, you can do whatever you want. Just a thought. I know it sounds cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, you guys, okay? I don't truly believe that, but it is an option. The lack of evidence that they said that they have on this guy, who is to say he wasn't hurting little girls? Who's to say? So many children go missing every single year and they're never found. Missing people are very, very seldomly found. Most of them are trafficked. Let's not get into that right now, you guys, okay? I'll probably make a whole video about these tunnels and shit, okay? But I'm glad you got out of there, OP. Who knows what he would have done to you? Whether it just be something that messes with you mentally or just ends you. Let's go to the comments. Commenter, I'm so glad you didn't ignore your intuition. That's what I just said. OP responded, after that encounter, my body was immediately like, nope, don't trust you at all. Never would have imagined in that moment though, that listening to it potentially protected me from some very real danger. Yeah. Commenter, twisted personalities always test us first looking for vulnerability. That one though. The first few days really screwed with my mind, as I came to terms with just how dangerous the situation I was in potentially was. My parents, I guess, to try and reassure me, told me he was just screwing with me as a twisted joke. I'm honestly not too sure. Okay, I don't know if he was playing with you, but this is kind of like a sick play. Even if he is joking, he's like, oh, he was really doing shit like that. It's not really a joke if you do it, okay? And who knows? Who knows? Maybe he had plans for you. And you go into the store, he's like, that joke was gonna turn into reality, but you had to have a head on your shoulders. You had to be smart, listen to your gut. Let's go to another one. I think my friend either knowing or unknowingly introduced me to a person with scary intentions. This is a real story that's happening now, but this all really started on my birthday. I did speak with an authority about these instances, but am open to hearing your takes as well. It's been pretty frightening. Backstory, I, female 27, live with my female roommate, Julia, and her boyfriend. About a year ago, Julia and I started going to a hangout spot and met a woman working there around our age, Sam. Julia and I stopped going after a while, but I stayed friends with Sam. Not super close, but seeing her once every couple of weeks. She supported my business and bought me small gifts and invited me places over the course of a year. I enjoyed being friends with her. On my birthday, Sam and other friends posted my photo on social media. That's when I got a message from an account I don't know. Asked me to message them back and discuss a film opportunity. Half curious, I respond. They say a bunch to finally come out and say they are casting adult film stars. They quote me a large amount of money. By the way, they're not Googleable. There's nothing on the social media page or anything about the production company online. The person messaging me insists I text their female reference. Curiosity gets the best of me because I do that. Female reference weirds me out. She's normal at first, but seems too excited about the actual job. She's encouraging me to do my casting with the person I've messaged and saying I'm very lucky he's even offered. He's only offered that to a few girls. I'm thinking no woman in really feels this excited, happy, satisfied with it all. I'm weirded out and she's blocked. He messaged me to ask if we talked. I say yes but decline again, and he's blocked now too. I'm embarrassed I even considered. But then a couple days later, my roommate shows me a weird text to her personal number. It's the same people, similar offer. They say though, we found you on a list you must have signed up for. I'm sure my roommate did no such thing. I'll say here, not many people know both me and my roommate. I tell my roommate what happened to me. We are both confused. For the next 4 months or so, I get text messages, all different kinds, all eventually saying, yes, this is not Googleable adult film company here, and we are so sorry about the mix-up. I answer some nice, I answer some mean. I ignore others completely. That was starting to sound like a Dr. Seuss book. They never asked for photos, info, anything really, except to consider the offer and maybe come for a drink to discuss in person. That was it. Until yesterday. Sam sends me a message on social media. It's a group chat with a profile I've never seen. And Sam, and my business profile. I do creative team building work. Sam wants to introduce me to her friend, Dave. Dave needs to hire a team building at a fantasy hotel about an hour away from me. Sam makes the introductions. I say thank you. And then Sam leaves the group chat. Dave's profile is empty. She messaged me privately and says basically, I used to casually see this guy. He's good for the job. He's pretty wealthy, and I know he owns like multiple businesses. He used to be in adult film production, but I think he's done with that, lol. And this would be for a different business he has. Other than that, he's a normal dude. I message the man back and ask, what's the company and can I have the website or some pages? Any more info? He says we will launch the website at the event I'm being hired for, and that he just bought the company and it's being branded. But Sam is messaging me too. She says he's selling the company and this 2-day hotel event is for their farewell party. She suggests I bring my boyfriend since it would be an all expenses paid stay. Also, she mentioned she's going to visit this old friend tonight to catch up over drinks. She said she hasn't seen him in a long time. Alright, this is weird as heck. The guy is messaging me along the lines of, sorry, I know this is weird. Feel free to bring your boyfriend. What? And he also mentions how he was seeing my friend tonight. I leave him on red until the morning. I send him the original weird adult film account and say, this you? They say, nope. And I say, yeah, okay. They respond, thumbs up, and leave the chat. I had mentioned to Sam months ago about the weird offer and text messages I got. She too said she got bizarre messages in the past. They only stopped when she said she would call the police. She didn't offer more detail, but was driving so I didn't push it. So now I message Sam and I say straight up, Sam, I think this is the person that has been harassing me from different numbers. She acts weirded out and surprised, asks about the original account that messaged me. Eventually she closes the combo and goes to bed. I left her on red. I don't answer her call the next day and she texts me, that was weird last night. LOL, call me if you want to chat because I'm confused. I don't respond. Today she texts me, okay. I wrote her back, basically saying, listen, you know I've been weirded out about this, and I've been wondering if someone is trying to abduct me, and now wondering if you're involved, either innocently or not, it's too much for me. She wrote me back saying more or less she understands that it was a scary, weird experience, but she thinks I'm way overreacting, and basically she seems offended that I even could think such a thing. She also said she wouldn't want to ever speak with someone again who could think that about her. She left it with that. She lives her life on the straight path and can't let someone try and drag her into something like that. I don't know if you guys know this, but you can use a free website online to insert photos of someone and it will generate pages on the internet that match based on facial recognition. When I began having this fear of her involvement, I searched her and found what I am 99.9% was thumbnails of her in an adult film, either her or her spitting image, as it also pulls known photos of her. I didn't say this to her, of course. I know. She knows, but that last statement she gave me is extra weird, knowing all that. So that's my story. Hopefully they don't get me. I am not the one to be played with. Girl. Your friend wanted you to do porn with her. Come on. Huh? She wanted you to do porn with her. She probably doesn't know that you saw those photos of her probably getting freaking nastified on the internet. If you do porn, do you, baby. That is all you. I got no hate. Make that bag for yourself. That's not something I'm going to do, but if that's you, kudos, okay? But it sounds like your friend was like, I will get her to do it. I'll get her to do it. Just bring her out here, all expenses paid. Tell her to bring her boyfriend. We'll pay for him too. She's probably in on it. Let's rip that band-aid off, okay? Just never talk to this friend again. This is inappropriate. If I don't want to do something like this, I don't. And your guy or this guy came off really weird. I expressed that to you and you're still like, come on, maybe she gets commission every girl that she recruits. Who knows? I would say this is creepy, but it's not scary. This is a very, it made me extremely uncomfortable. But I don't think you were in any danger. I think they just wanted to see your vagine. Still sucks, don't get me wrong, but they didn't want to like... You know what I mean? Let's go to the comments. Commenter, damn, that's scary. Trust your instincts on this one. Commenter, you really need to stop texting back numbers you don't know. Commenter, bro, I had a friend who constantly engaged with strangers messaging her. She thought it's funny fucking with them, but it's not far from them knowing your number, picture, etc., to knowing your address. I'm paranoid over that stuff. Okay, they already have your number. Unless they send you a link, they're not gonna get any more information from you. Because I will tell you guys, there is this thing that people do to get your information, and I'm sure you're all aware of it to an extent. Most people that have emails with work or whatever, you have to do that cybersecurity training bullshit, but people don't think about it in real life outside of their job. If somebody sends you an intriguing link and you click on it, they could geolocate you with that link, see exactly where your house is. Don't click weird links. But this, I don't see any harm texting back, because curiosity would get the best of me. I will be honest, and I will text back. I get random people texting my phone number. I've had this number for a really long time. When I get a weird number, who the fuck is it? I'm just kidding. I'm really nice. Because most of the time they have the wrong number and I'm like, no, I'm not Taylor. No, I'm not Brittany. No, that ain't me. I'm not your grandma. So I don't see any harm in texting back. It's not going to do anything. It's not like when you're on the phone and they're tracking and they're like, oh, we're at 8 seconds. We got him. You know what I mean? Oh, we got 10 texts. We got him. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, you guys. Let's go to another one. Okay, so there's 2 stories by this same OP on this same thread. What was the most dangerous situation you've been in? My husband and I got insanely fucked up on our honeymoon in Mexico. Like full-on stupid behavior, over the top, banging, I don't know what that is. Completely idiot level fucked up. We rented jet skis, took them out on the ocean. I don't remember exactly what happened. I ended up in the ocean. I was thrown off somehow. I can't swim well at all. So I just struggled there a few long moments, and then a guy came and scooped me onto his jet ski. I honestly thought I was going to die in the ocean, so I was immensely thankful. He began to grope me and started communicating to me that he was going to take me back to shore while laughing. I was insanely drunk and high and scared, and I guess my defense mechanism kicked in and I just totally went with it. Ha 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 ha, this is so fun. I think the language barrier was also affecting things, and he just kind of kept driving in circles for a while. All the while being like, I can show you the spot over here, and feeling me up while I was like, ha ha ha, no thanks. I started to get as afraid as my level of drunk and high would allow. And then I went into my favorite defense mechanism, just act crazy. I literally just started pretending I couldn't sit up straight, started dry heaving, said things that made no sense. Bro just decided I wasn't worth it and dropped me off on the beach. Now onto the second problem. I'm alone on the beach in a country I've never been to, where I don't speak the language, and I have no idea where my husband is and no way to contact him. At this point, I think all the drink and drug usage caught up to me, along with the adrenaline of what I'd just experienced, and I literally broke down in tears like a lost child. I stumbled over to a cop and started explaining my situation, and then my husband ran over and scooped me up. We continued to party for a couple days and then headed the fuck out of Mexico and never went back. I believe that was the last drink and drug binge of my life. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Ultimately, it was my fault for being fucked up and reckless. But looking back, I'm like, I could have died like 3 separate ways just in one day. This is a big reason why I choose sobriety. I want to be 100% all the time. And that's not only why, of course, I have my reasons. I have handfuls of reasons. But in this situation, how good could you have defended yourself? Be completely honest. Not only were you in a vulnerable state because you were by yourself, you were also under the influence, heavily so. You couldn't see your husband. This is so stupid on so many levels. I can't say I don't blame you because I would do dumb shit like this too. I don't know that I would do this in Mexico though, because I know Mexico is very dangerous. I've been to Mexico one time and I was young. I think I was like maybe 10, but I went to Mexico one time and I'm not even joking. Within 10 minutes of getting off the boat, because we were on a cruise, my dad went to the bathroom and we were waiting for him, me and my sister, my mom, and legit, he's walking out of the bathroom and 2 men are trying to rob him. Thankfully, they didn't successfully rob him. I don't remember exactly what happened, but we were like, yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I know that a lot of foreign countries, you have to be aware of your surroundings for pickpocketers, for getting robbed, especially as a tourist, and especially now. It's pretty dangerous everywhere. I know vacation is supposed to be a time for you to get loose, relax, get fucked up, blah, 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 all the things. I don't know. For me, vacation is just relaxing, sober, waking up feeling good, and not having anything to do. Just waking up and being like, I literally have nothing to do today. We can do anything we want. It's very rare. I can't think of a single day in the last 20 plus years I have not had something to do. Even on the weekends. I'm busy. Anyways, let's read this bitch's second story. Story 2. Speaking of the just act crazy defense mechanism, I think this story sounds a bit unbelievable, but it's absolutely true. Post honeymoon binge, my new husband and I ended up homeless. Like I said, best of times, worst of times. We were staying in an RV park in an old rundown RV while driving our friend's borrowed truck. I took the truck in the middle of the night to get some late night Jack in the Box. My husband was passed out in the RV, so no one knew I was gone. Well, I got to the drive-thru window, and lo and behold, I run out of gas. So now I have to walk about a quarter mile in the worst area in Mesa, California. If you know, you know. By myself in the middle of the night to a gas station. Even in a good part of town, that's scary. I'm walking alone, almost to the gas station, and a gray truck pulls up and the passenger door pops open. A quiet, calm male voice says, "Get in, I'll give you a ride." I ignore him and walk around the truck and keep moving along the sidewalk. The truck intercepts me at the next crosswalk, and this time the voice is slightly more firm and kinda scary. "I'll give you a ride." Well, the crazy thing worked a few moments earlier. I'm thinking, so let's try it again. I start laughing and kind of stumbling toward the traffic. I bounce off the wall beside me and just start yelling incoherently and laughing. I start walking with a limp. The truck zooms off. I get my gas, return to Jack in the Box, get my food, deal with the drive-thru guy who was mildly annoyed. I left my truck in his drive-thru while I went to go get gas. Go home to the RV, fall asleep. Next morning, maybe 2 mornings later. It's been a while and I'm not sure. I'm looking at the news on my phone. There's a picture of a truck and its driver. The guy was arrested for abducting and assaulting a woman, maybe more than one, a few days prior. Girl, yeah, you never, ever. I don't care if it is God himself. You are not getting in a random person's car. I know back in the day, people used to hitchhike all across the country. No, I mean, if you do this, that's on you. You think you can handle yourself, you carry some sort of weapon or something to defend yourself with, more power to you. You are not gonna catch me doing it. No way. That would have been you on the news, girl. That would have been you on the news. Good thing for acting crazy. That's hilarious. I would love to see that, but I probably would be more dramatic. I'd probably because I feel like, yes, that deterred him, but like a true psycho, like somebody who's gonna like you, they are not gonna care about that. They're like, whatever, she's gonna be in the dirt here soon. So the second you were put off guard trying to act like a Looney Tune, he would have came up behind you, grabbed your ass, and threw you in. Kudos. You guys, trust your instincts always. Your gut is usually right. Unless you got something going on. Your gut is usually right. It usually is right. Let's go to another one. Per usual for the whole video, viewer discretion advised, but for this story in particular, I have to let you know there is talks of SA. If you don't want to hear about this story, please skip to the next one. Let's get into it. The apartment in the fields. This happened around 2018. For context, a buddy of mine, we'll call him KG, used to be our group's ladies' man, and it wasn't uncommon for him to want to go meet up with somebody during the night. This night in particular was no different. Some girls messaged him on dating apps, inviting him to come hang out. He said he was with a friend, but would be free in a few hours. She said, "No problem, just bring him with. We can all smoke and just hang out." I was fine with it, and she gave KG the address. The place was an apartment about an hour away. We got in the truck and headed over. The drive was 30 minutes down the highway, followed by 45 minutes of nothing but gravel road and fields. I distinctly remember we joked about how it felt like we were in an alternate dimension. Zero light, no houses, and I don't remember seeing a speed limit or stop sign for most of the drive. Once we arrived, it was extremely ominous. A single yellow light hung over a single apartment building that probably only had about 3 units. This place looked old and borderline abandoned. The girl who I'll call M was standing out there waiting for us. I couldn't make out any features, as all I saw from the car was a silhouette. We got out and she led us inside. KG seemed uncomfortable when we saw her, but was playing it off. I noticed she was considerably older than us, and was not the type KG would normally go for. To be extremely honest, she looked cracked out. Her face was covered in the marks you see when stimulant users obsessively pick their face. Regardless, we get in her apartment and shit was off immediately. This place was bare, a single couch lined with plastic, and a TV sat in the living room, and the kitchen cabinets were all empty, and many were just open. For some reason, I also remember Bob's Burgers playing at an ungodly volume on the TV. She had a couple blunts already rolled, and I got to breaking down our share to roll. She offered us white box wine and said it was all she had. She poured 3 glasses and I knocked back about half of it before almost gagging at a chemical taste. I didn't say anything. I don't like wine as is, and only accepted it because I was thirsty, and she said her tap water wasn't safe to drink. I figured it was just really cheap and didn't want to be rude. KG drank his and we got to smoking and talking. Once she got up to go to the bathroom, KG whispered to me that he got catfished and showed me the profile with an obviously different girl's photos. I asked if we should go, and he said she was probably just insecure and that he still wants to hang out and see where things go. She got back and insisted on another blunt, specifically the one she rolled. Oh, brother, here we go. Here we go. We kept talking, and I noticed she seemed to be getting antsy and shorter in her responses, kept being very flirtatious with the both of us as well, saying we'd be a lot more comfy if we went into her room. I also noticed I was beginning to feel strange, not the fun strangeness of THC, but the ominous feeling that I was losing control of my muscles and having a hard time thinking or talking. KG was basically melted in the couch, but still carrying on talking to her. I looked at my glass and noticed powdered gunk collecting at the top. I felt sick and stumbled to the bathroom. The bathroom was disgusting. I sat down on the side of the tub and tried to figure out what the fuck was happening. I was convinced we'd been drugged, but kept telling myself I was just greening out and being paranoid, despite that not being normal for me. I eventually lost track of time and place in there. Luckily, I was smart enough to lock the door. At some point, I walked out to see the living room empty and heard groaning in the other room. I knocked on the door and got no answer. I blacked out on the couch again and only came to after hearing shuffling and seeing KG bust out of the room half naked and M following him. I stood up and she looked stone-faced. KG didn't say anything and stumbled fast out the door. I didn't need to be convinced and followed quickly. The entire walk back to the car, she followed us, not running or yelling, just walking with us, seemingly waiting for us to fall. Somehow, in his drugged up state, KG got the car going and we peeled off. I don't remember much after that, but we both woke up the next afternoon parked at a church in the middle of nowhere. Both of us had pounding headaches and and KG said after I went to the bathroom, she pulled him up and helped him into the bedroom, whispering how we were hers forever and that we never had to worry about anything ever again. He knew this was bad, but in his haze, couldn't stand or yell for me. We drove home silently. I didn't see KG for a while after that, and when I did, he never spoke of it again. Moral of the story, just because you aren't alone doesn't mean you're safe. Just because you are a man doesn't mean you're safe. If you feel something is off, don't wait to get out of there, and for the love of God, don't drink anything you didn't see poured. Sorry if this story is a bit of a downer, or if it's inappropriate for this sub. The memory has never left my mind. It was awful and terrifying, but also surreal and almost feels like a dream. KG said that luckily I knocked at the perfect time and she didn't get what she wanted out of him, and the knock brought him back to momentary awareness. Things could have been a lot worse, but I will never forget what happened in the apartment in the fields. Oh, that gave me chills. Oh, I hated that. Oh, God. Oh. You guys, I will say this until I am black and blue, and I know I've said it 1,000 times. You know, I don't know if I have said this a million times on here, but I say it to myself. You guys, do not. I can't say this enough. Do not do drugs or drink alcohol with a complete stranger, especially when their house looks abandoned. This was probably an abandoned building. She probably bought that box wine, put a shitload of drugs in it. Who knows what the hell it was. Laced the weed for the blunt. And if somebody is very pushy about doing a blunt that you did not see rolled, or a substance that you did not see, but I don't really know what else you wouldn't see besides, like, I don't know, making a mixture in a needle or something. I don't know what people do. Okay, don't do it. The box wine, as soon as you said she had box wine, I knew this bitch put something in there. She I would see this house. I would have hightailed my ass out of there so fast. I'd be like, listen, I'm sorry. I mean no disrespect, but this is not comfortable for me. I'm feeling a little weird. I'm not gonna be drinking your Kool-Aid. I'm not gonna be smoking your drugs. I got to go. And KG, my guy, come on. When somebody is a catfish, there's something wrong with them mentally. I know, you guys. Some people are very, very down on themselves, and so they fake to be someone else, but there's still something mentally wrong with them. So in these situations, when you see this, take a step back, analyze your situation, as in, you're in the middle of nowhere, you're in an abandoned building, and not to mention, the couch has plastic on it. That alone, I know people protect their couch, but you're not protecting your couch in in a house like this. Get real. Oh God, thank God you guys made it out, because I don't know what your mind forever meant, but a bitch needs to go to the farm. Let's read some comments. Scary. Oh my gosh, you guys, the sticky situations you get yourself in. Commenter, geez, the situation was creepy right from the get-go. When you had to drive into the middle of Texas Chainsaw Massacreville just to see this creepy catfish woman, and of course this is not inappropriate for the sub. This is exactly what the sub is for. I'm glad you two got out of there when you did and didn't wind up dead because of DUI just to escape this nut. Glad you also learned some valuable lessons and will never do this again. Continue to entertain crazy and creepy just for curiosity's sake, or see where things go, as KG put it. OP responded, absolutely. That experience marked the end of blindly going to random people's houses to party. If I trust the person I'm around, I'm not waiting for something bad to happen before getting the fuck out of there. Yeah. Commenter, oh my gosh, I'm glad you both were okay, all things considered. And it's a good lesson that women can be perpetrators as well. I think it's so easy to feel more at ease around a woman, but dang, the way she almost overpowered two guys so easily is scary. Glad you got out of there before things got really bad. Am I the only one that thought OP was a girl? My bad, you guys. This whole time I thought OP was a woman. OP responded, yeah, the situation really taught me a lesson about never underestimating somebody's capabilities. If someone wants to harm somebody, they'll find a way no matter the size or the strength. Yeah, dating apps can be spooky, spooky, spooky. Yikes. Let's go to another one. Shirtless, drugged out stranger tried to break in while I was alone at home. Hi Reddit, this happened to me in August 2024, during the middle of a gloomy Melbourne winter. It still gives me chills to think about. For context, I had just started a new job and was working from home while being trained over Microsoft Teams. My husband was at work, about 45 kilometers away, and I was completely alone in our new house. We had only moved in a couple of months prior into a developing suburb. At this point, the street was practically deserted. Just one neighbor beside me and another all the way at the end of the road. Everyone else, empty lots and half-built houses. Around 3 p.m., although still daytime, it was already dark due to the thick winter clouds. I was sitting in our theater room, which faces the front of the house. The blinds were partially shut, not even for full privacy, but enough that you'd need to look closely to see it. Out of nowhere, I hear a knock, not a doorbell, just knocking. That was odd. Door-to-door salesmen usually ring, and I wasn't expecting any parcels. I got this immediate uneasy feeling and checked our security cameras. Standing there was a huge shirtless man, clearly high or drunk, swaying, aggressive, and peering directly through the narrow glass panels of my front door. When I didn't respond, he started banging louder and yelling for me to open up. The aggression was escalating fast. Thank God we had a security screen door installed. But even with that barrier, I was panicking. I was home alone. No one else was nearby, and help was not going to come quickly. I tried to keep calm, but then he wandered to a nearby construction site, grabbed a piece of wood, and began smashing it against my security door. That was it. I called the cops. They could hear the banging on the call and immediately told me to get into the master bedroom, lock that door, then get into an ensuite bathroom, and lock that too. That way, there'd be 2 locked doors between me and this guy in case he made it inside. The next 20 minutes were the longest of my life. He didn't give up. He moved to the side gate and tried climbing over it, which leads directly to the back of my house. I have glass sliding doors back there, and it hit me. That'd be easy to break. I rushed to shut the roller shutters. As they were coming down, he saw them and lost it. He began pounding on those now, furious, completely unhinged. Then finally, the police arrived, saw his car parked all crooked in front of my house, noticed the muddy footprints, and immediately jumped the side gate. They caught him mid-rage at my back doors. He was detained, but because of local laws here, people under the influence have to be medically sobered up before arrest so that the cops aren't liable if anything happens while they're high. So they called an ambulance, took him away, and also towed his car. A cop returned to my door later to explain the situation. Apparently, this guy was completely out of his mind and had mistaken my house for a drug house. There was one all the way down the street that had some shady activity, and he thought mine was it. I still remember calling my neighbor during all this, telling her not to open the door no matter what because she has 2 small kids, and I didn't want anyone else getting hurt. This whole experience left me shaken for weeks. I still can't express how grateful I am that my husband had insisted on installing roller shutters and reinforced security doors when we moved in. If we hadn't, I don't even know what to think about it. So to the coked out lunatic who tried to break into my house while I was alone, let's not meet. Ever. Edit. I've added some pictures from our security cam below to confirm the validity of the story. Here's the photos. I don't know why I assumed. You know, I do a lot of assuming. I assumed that these would be at night. But here we are, you guys. Wow, what a nice neighborhood. Now, this is just my paranoid brain. Thank you for the pictures. I don't know that I would ever post pictures like this outside of my front door because there is a lot of crazy people out there. And there was a woman who, I don't know if she's still around. If she is, that would be really cool if you guys gave me her info just so I could have it. There was this woman who, she is kind of cuckoo like me. I don't know if it was paranoia, it was just knowledge, I guess. People would ask her to show them where they go to the bathroom or where they live. And I might be a little wrong on that because I came across it a long time ago. But she would show them what neighborhood they lived in, what house they lived in. She could pinpoint exactly where you're posting from by just the post you have online. She'd go through all your posts and she would literally find where you are. It's quite easy. I'm gonna be honest. It really is. Because people post so much personal stuff. They post their food when they go out. They tag the restaurant. Okay, so you live near here? Probably. They post them out doing activities, again, in their general area. Usually, if it's Facebook, they have where they went to high school, what town they're in, what town they're from. And then they have pictures of their children, probably at the local park, at the local swimming pool. You know, they have all these things kind of give a radar of your general area. Guys, you have to be safe out there. I know. You're like, okay, well, I have like 5 people that like my shit. It just takes one. It just takes one crazy motherfucker. Just one. Just takes one. Seriously, it is a fear of mine. Now, I know I tell you guys I live in California. You guys don't know where in California I live. I tag all my posts in LA. I don't live in LA. I mean, I give key points here and there, but I try to be a little discreet just because. And I know if you follow my private Instagram, you've probably seen where I live. Whatever. It is what it is. But I'm very careful, and I don't post a lot. I post a lot of memes. I post a lot of really funny memes because I have an Instagram for this. I know most people, they just follow my YouTube, but you know, I have Instagram, I have X, I have TikTok, I have all the things. I have all the things, and they're always linked below. Anyways, going on a tangent. Let's just go to another one. What is the creepiest thing that has happened to you? This happened last summer, and it's still one of the scariest things I've ever experienced. So my friends and I were at this summer camp. We're all teens, ages ranging from 14 to 17. One night, a group of us decided to sneak out and go for a walk in the woods nearby. We ended up going pretty deep, about 1.5 kilometers from the camp. It was late, pitch black, and completely silent. At some point, we started hearing music. Not just any music, something that sounded church-like. You know, kind of eerie and old, like chanting or hum. At first we thought maybe it was someone playing music from a speaker, but we couldn't tell where it was coming from. We kept walking and the music got louder. That's when we stood dead in our tracks. Through the trees, we saw a group of people. I swear to God, they were all dressed in white, like bathrobes or sheets. They were standing in a circle around a fire. In the middle, this is the part that still haunts me. There was a dead goat suspended over the flames. They were doing something, some kind of ritual. We didn't understand what was going on, but it didn't look like some normal camping activity. That's for sure. It looked like a sacrifice. Nobody said a word. We just backed away slowly, trying not to make a sound, and got the hell out of there. We didn't run until we were sure we were far enough to not be heard. We never told the camp staff, and I still don't know what we saw that night. Whether it was a cult, a prank, or something even weirder, if someone knows who they are, please tell me. This was 100% a sacrifice. Goats are the main form of sacrifice besides babies. That's not funny. That's not freaking funny, you guys. But it's true. It is true. As shitty as that is. But hold on. Okay, so with goats, goats, sheeps, whatever. There's so much symbolism with this. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. I mean, if you're looking at Hollywood type things, of course, this is the occult, this is Satanism, this is sacrifice, this is blah, 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 blah. But it usually correlates with Satanism. They use goats for sacrifice. It resembles the Baphomet. I know it's been seen as like this symbolism of rejecting God and religion and things like that. I don't know. It could go so many different ways, you guys. I know that it is depiction of Satan, usually, which goats are really cute. I don't know why they gotta be all... You know, believe what you want to believe. I don't care if you're a Satanist, if you believe in God, if you're Mormon, if you're a Christian, whatever you believe, do you, okay? Do you. But I'm getting off track. Seems very, very ritualistic. It seems a little fishy. I would not go back in those woods as long as you were at this camp, my friend. I'm glad they didn't hear you. Let's put that out there, because not that they would have done anything to you, because, you know, there are so many groups that do sacrifice like this. Like, even now, they've been known to do goat sacrifice, animal sacrifice. For what reason? I'm not really certain. I don't understand the sacrifice thing. I don't understand it. I know that people have strong beliefs of it, and it's kind of like, it's like a token for your belief, and you're giving a gift to the God you believe in, whether it's Satan, God, Allah, whatever. I don't understand it, but it seems like it was a sacrifice. It is traditionally known as a satanic symbolism and sacrifice because of Baphomet. Anyways, there's no comments on this. Let's go to another one. On a flight. This story happened when I was 18 years old in 2007, flying a red-eye from Atlanta to LaGuardia Airport to work at a sleepaway summer camp. I was seated next to a 20-something-year-old male who started talking to me. He asked where I was going and about my plans and told me he was a DJ. I explained I was going to work at a camp and he asked where. I told him it was a few hours from the airport and he offered to drive me. I said no and that someone from the camp would be picking me up at 10 a.m. The flight was landing at 6 a.m. He then offered to drive me around and show me New York for a couple hours, which I also declined, and said I would just wait for my ride at the airport. The drink service came, and I don't know exactly what happened. I went to the bathroom, I finished maybe half my drink, then I promptly fell asleep for basically the entire flight. I woke up with my head in the guy's lap, and I was scared. Like I was fully bent forward and to the side with my head on his lap. I never had fallen asleep like that in a plane or a car, and would never fall asleep on a stranger. I immediately went to sit up, and he held my head down for a second and said I can keep sleeping, but I sat up and said I was going to the bathroom. When I sat back down, we were about to land. The flight attendant walked by and looked kind of concerned at me, but didn't say anything. I saw my unfinished drink on his tray table. He again offered to drive me around New York and show me cool DJ stuff, like clubs, and I said no and put in my headphones. Got off the plane when it landed and got myself food while I waited for my ride. To this day, I still think about it and wonder if I was almost trafficked. What would have happened if I drank the whole drink? I wish I would have reported it to the flight attendant and got him in trouble and changed seats. I was so young and naive, and I also think I wasn't thinking so clear at the time. But once my head cleared, I realized how messed up it was. Don't hate me, you guys. Let's be clear. Let's be very clear here. How, y'all are gonna think I'm a bitch. How would he have done anything? I'm serious. How? When it comes to the airport, they will not let you on a plane if you are very intoxicated. And if you are very intoxicated getting off the plane, same thing. They're gonna stop you and talk to you. You can end up on a no-fly list by being too fucked up. So me saying that, if you are, say, incoherent, he's having to carry you. You are not walking on your own. You are not sober enough to be a functioning human. They will clock that. And how the hell is he gonna get you anywhere? Do you guys not realize how big airports are? Some of them are miles of walking. In Salt Lake City, my God. It feels like you walk all the way to Texas. I honestly think it's like a 3-mile walk from the front to some of the terminals. How was he gonna get you from point A to point B? How was he gonna get you off the plane without raising any alarm bells? How was he gonna execute this? Unless he was directly working with somebody at the airport on the plane, I don't see this being a real concern. I could see there being a group of people once you get off the plane and they just take you. A group of people, maybe a baggage claim or somewhere they don't check you. Somewhere where you don't need identification or anything to get in. But to drug you all miscombobulated and looking like you took a... No, I'm sorry. This is not a legitimate... I don't know. For me, this sounds like a very irrational conclusion. Maybe you are really tired. Maybe flying is not your thing. Maybe you legit passed out on the flight. There's a lot of things that could go into this, but I'll tell you, this just sounds like bogus. What exactly could have happened on a plane? Can we just think about that for a second? And I'm not trying to be mean to this bitch, okay? I'm not trying to be mean, but let's be real. What could he have relatively done on the plane? You are surrounded by people. You have a nosy ass flight attendant that's walking up and down the aisles. They're giving you food, they're giving you drinks, and they're about to come through and pick up trash given that he still has his cup. What could he have done and nobody noticed? People are nosy as hell, especially when they're sitting next to you, whether they show you they're nosy. This seems dramatic. This seems ridiculous. I don't know if you made this up in your head or if this is just, I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys tell me in the comments how I suck and I'm wrong and my opinion is trash and blah, 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 blah. Because I'm sorry. No. It's so easy to get on a no-fly list now. And they're so vigilant now. They're so vigilant. The second you're too fucked up, they're like, after the plane, we're going to take you somewhere. After we land, we're going to take you somewhere. And of course, you can go to sleep and things like that. They're not going to monitor you during the flight. But if you're acting all weird, getting off the plane, God, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I've flown a lot. Even when I was literally like 6 years old with my sister flying by ourselves. I don't get it, you guys. This isn't, I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I don't believe that you were sorry. You probably fell asleep. He grabbed the cup because you fell asleep and he put it on his tray so that you wouldn't knock it over. And he's like, it's fine, you can lay here. Anyways. Alright, everybody. That dreadful time has come and gone again. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. It's all up to you.